This is an ISN Corporation political video, and I am responsible for its message. So what do you do when your rabbi corners you in synagogue and starts repeating false narratives and false facts against Joe Biden in synagogue? Well, number one, you don't argue with him. You go out and you make yourself a video and you convince 10 other people that your rabbi is wrong. Trump has said a number of times, you won't be safe in Joe Biden's America. He pushes the position that Joe Biden is in favor of defunding the police, and he's in the control of the radical left on this and all other issues. This is not true. Joe Biden has stated clearly and unequivocally he is against defunding police. You can search YouTube and find video clips of him saying this on a number of occasions. He is in favor of Black Lives Matters, he is against violence, and he has not advocated letting violence go on in American cities, another accusation of the Trump campaign. So when people repeat false statements from President Trump about this, I urge you to send them a link. Better yet, make a video and send 100 people the link. And fight falsehoods with facts. Fight false statements with true statements. President Trump has said something else. He said that left-wing violence is out of control in American cities, and the Democrats have stopped him from cracking down. They've stopped him from sending in federal law enforcement. This is also mostly false. Here, up next, the facts. When confronted with the fact that FBI crime statistics will not be out until 18 months after the end of 2020, for the year 2020, the president cites secret briefings, classified briefings made by the FBI to him as part of national security. In fact, these briefings never happened, and the crime statistics that President Trump has made up were just made up. He heard them on Fox News, they were opinion, they were not based on fact, and he repeated them. So either he's made up the lie himself, or his friends on Fox News made it up for him. Also, he's indicated that the Democrats, who control most city administrations, have prevented federal law enforcement from cracking down on demonstrators and violence. In fact, that is a partially true statement. The INS was used in Portland, Oregon to make raids on people who might possibly have immigration statuses that are in question, and it was used to intimidate their free expression. This, the city of Portland did prevent, but as a matter of course, there are regularly, according to the police chief in Portland, there are regularly requests for federal law enforcement to take actions and coordinate actions such as drug raids and other day-to-day law enforcement matters, and none of those requests have been rejected by the Portland Police Department. So, fight falsehoods with facts. Fight lies with truth. Several times since the convention of the Republicans last week, President Trump has said you will not be safe in Joe Biden's America. We raise a simple reprise to that argument here in the Democratic Party. That is, do you feel safe in the USA right now? Journalist Julie Mason quoted on her show, SiriusXM's Press Pool, Channel 124, that Americans' fear rates among Republicans is 75% about COVID and up to 80% among Democrats. The average is about 77%. Now that was from a Gallup survey, I believe. You can check your facts. You can look at Julie Mason's site at SiriusXM, but frankly, I'm a lot more afraid of COVID-19 than I am of getting shot by a left-wing protester in a protest in St. Louis County, where I currently live. I'm also afraid of getting COVID on the airplane on the way to Israel to see my family for the first time in a year. See, this disease has had a real impact on my life. I work in the United States of America for a large insurance company, and I try and visit my family twice a year for the major Jewish holidays, Passover and Rosh Hashanah through the end of Sukkot. And I had to give up my trip for Passover because it simply wasn't safe to fly. And I'm having to take very strict precautions on how I travel and what I do and I can't even get drunk on the airplane, in the airplane lounge before flying from Newark to Tel Aviv next week. Do you feel safe in President Donald Trump's America? 77% of Americans, Republican or Democrat, said no. This is interesting. This is the third photo that came up when I did a Google image search in order to build this video with some content that was worth looking at. And it was the third one that came up, and that is the police walking by a protester who had been pushed to the ground and had his head cracked open and was bleeding on the ground. Nobody rendering aid. A clear example of police misbehaving. Now, President Trump would have you believe that the fake news media is biased against them, and they are highlighting incidents of police misbehaving while ignoring incidents of protesters misbehaving. This is not true. We have journalistic standards in this country, like Olivier Knox and Julie Mason demonstrated on last Friday's Reporters Roundtable on SiriusXM channel 124. And let me tell you this, you can count on journalists to provide you balanced coverage, to cover what the news is, and to not show personal bias. I have no idea which way Julie Mason and Olivier Knox lean politically. I have a perception. They've cracked some jokes maybe that I think may indicate something, but the bottom line is they've done a very good job on their program, which is supposed to provide news from both sides of the aisle, both parties, both viewpoints, in keeping their personal feelings to themselves and making statements against activist journalism. Now let me state my opinion on defunding the police. I think it's stupid. I think Joe Biden needs to say it louder and clearer that he's against defunding the police, and that when President Trump says that he is in favor of it, that is a lie, and it is a lie that he will stand up and fight against as long as it takes, and loudly and proudly repeat his support of the police. That doesn't mean we don't need change in our police departments. There is too much misbehaving. It's not just the fact that there's 200 or 300 million cell phone cameras out there that are catching them misbehaving a couple times a week. And as Democrats and the left wing of the Democratic Party also needs to take care of its own. If you know someone who's going to be violent at a demonstration, turn them into the police. Get them arrested. Get them out of your parade. If they're even in your parade, which I doubt, based on what I've seen on the media, is actually the case. But if you see someone getting ready to break windows and do violence, it's not acceptable. And President Trump is using it and racist posts and retweeting racist statements to stir the pot, because he wants left-wing violence. He wants violence, and he wants to be able to say, I support the police, and I'm going to protect you from these crazy people. Well, I support the police, and I want to protect you from a particular crazy person, one named Donald J. Trump. That's why I'm going to vote against him on November 3rd, or by absentee ballot before November 3rd. So what do you do when your rabbi corners you in synagogue and repeats false narratives from the Trump campaign or the president's very own mouth? Don't get into synagogue. Your rabbi cares about you spiritually. Make a YouTube video. For every person that he convinces to vote for President Trump, I hope to convince 100 people to get out there and vote against President Trump. So I'm going to create the force multiplier for my opinion, and that is this video. Thank you for listening. If you like it, press like. If you want to subscribe, there's going to be more. And if you want to be notified when I upload new videos, press the little bell. But understand this channel shares a YouTube Gmail ID with 2 technical channels, HP Unix, HP UX, and with the Linux Authority, and not all the videos are going to be political. I'm just too lazy to set up yet another political ID for Gmail and go through all the hassle it takes to maintain it and keep it in good standing, etc., etc., etc. But you can see my opinions on Twitter, Shmuel Prater, or Political Prater in Twitter. So that's where you find me. mark this channel if you like it, and I will be happy to provide a platform for other people to make counter arguments to falsehoods. And trust me, if Joe Biden says something that's patently false, I will be the first person, if I can get to a computer, to call him out. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day, and stay safe, America. I'm Shmuel Prater, and I'm responsible for the video content of this message. This is opinion, but I am perfectly willing to defend the facts I used. I can provide links to back up any statement that I made in this video. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, voting is a responsibility, not a right. As an American citizen, if you can do it safely without risking your life, because the Constitution is not a suicide pact, you are obligated as a citizen of the United States to vote in the election. Please do make your opinion known. Do what's right for America. 100% turnout in 2020. Make that Donald Trump's legacy to the American people. Higher turnout and a civil election with a good outcome that's accepted by both sides.